Everybody knows the Base Set Charizard, the colorful background, the orange dragon, the card that basically built this hobby. It's the most famous Pokemon card on the planet. But there's another Charizard, from a set most collectors have never opened a single pack of. And card for card, that one can sell for more. That's because it comes from a set that barely got printed. One run, and then it vanished. The company that made it lost the Pokemon license before they could ever print it again. Sealed boxes are so hard to find that collectors have stopped asking how much and started asking if I can even find one. This is Skyridge, the final breath of an era, and what a lot of collectors will tell you is the rarest mainline set ever printed. And before we're done, I'll show you the one card hiding in this set that disappeared from Pokemon completely for 20 years, right after this, and most kids opening these packs had no idea they were holding on to the last of its kind. To understand why Skyridge is so rare, you have to understand who made it. Before the Pokemon Company ran the card game in-house, the English sets were printed by a company called Wizards of the Coast, the same people behind Magic the Gathering. They handled Pokemon from the very first base set in 1999. Skyridge came out in English on May 12, 2003. It was the third and final set in what's called the E-Card series, and it landed at the worst possible moment for its own sales. By 2003, the first Pokemon craze had cooled off. The playground frenzy was over and fewer kids were buying packs, so fewer got made. Right around this time, the license changed hands. The Pokemon Company took the card game in-house and Wizards of the Coast was out, which means Skyridge got exactly one print run. No reprint, no second wave, no they'll make more next year. When those boxes sold through, that was it. Forever. Skyridge is one of the scarcest sets out there, and that scarcity wasn't manufactured for hype. There was no limited edition stamp. It just quietly got printed once at the exact moment the world had stopped paying attention. So you had a small print run, low demand at the time, and a company on its way out the door. That's the recipe. But scarcity alone doesn't make the collectors lose their minds. The cards themselves had to be special too, and Skyridge had something nobody had seen at this scale before. Pull up any Skyridge card and something looks off. The borders aren't even. The left side and the bottom are way thicker, and the top and the right aren't. First time you see it, it looks like a miscut or a printing error. Well, it's not. It's a feature. And it's one of the strangest experiments in Pokemon history. See those fat borders? On a lot of these cards, they're hiding tiny printed strips called dot codes. Skyridge cards were built to work with a Nintendo accessory called the e-reader, a little device that clipped onto Game Boy Advances. You'd physically swipe the edge of the card through it, the machine would read the dot code, and it would unlock something like Pokédex data, animations, even tiny playable mini games pulled right off the card. Think about that. 20 plus years before QR codes were everywhere, Pokemon had shipped a card you could scan to a game. It was ahead of its time, but it was kind of clunky. The e-reader never really caught on, but it's the reason every Skyridge card has that weird off-balance look baked into the design. But there were cards that didn't have the dot codes. See, the e-reader couldn't read shiny foil, so the dot codes only got printed on the non-holo cards. Wizards actually made a separate non-holo version of each big card just to carry the code, which means the shiny cards have the look but not the strip. And for collectors, Nintendo gave mercy. Unlike the set before it, Aquapolis, Skyridge skipped the confusing A and B dot code variants. So even though the set is huge, at least you don't have to hunt for an A or B variation of the cards, which matters a lot because the checklist is stacked, starting with 6 cards that are the whole reason this set is legendary. Skyridge has 182 cards in total, but the crown jewels are 6 secret rare cards numbered 145 through 150, sitting past the end of the set on the checklist. These are the crystal type Pokemon, and they're some of the most beautiful cards Wizard of the Coast ever made. The 6 are Celebi, Charizard, Crobat, Golem, Ho-Oh, and Kabutops. Crystal type wasn't just a label for looks, it was an actual Pokebody ability. The idea was that Pokemon could shift its type depending on the energy you attach to it. So Crystal Charizard could become fire, lightning, or fighting on the fly. I think this is such a cool mechanic, but collectors don't chase these for the gameplay. They chase them because they look incredible and there are barely any of them. Here's a detail most people miss. The set before this one, Aquapolis, had 3 crystal cards. Skyridge doubled it to 6 and then went further. Each crystal was printed in 2 different finishes, a holo version and a reverse holo version. So there isn't just one Crystal Charizard to chase, there's 2. Double the rarity, double the hunt. And the feature card, the one everybody wants, is the Crystal Charizard. This is the card I teased at the start. A raw ungraded copy will already run you a couple $1,000s. In Gem Mint PSA 10, it's a $30,000 card. And the very best copies have gone way past that. In 2026, one sold for over $100,000. For comparison, that puts a top grade Skyridge Charizard in the same conversation as a shadowless base set Charizard the whole hobby worships. And at most grades below Gem Mint, it's the Skyridge that sells for more. Let that sink in. 6 crystals, 2 finishes each, 1 print run. A Charizard that can outsell shadowless base set, and a set most people have never held. The other 5 aren't far behind. Ho-Ho is a legendary Pokemon and Celebi is a fan favorite mythical. 2 of the most beloved characteristics in the whole set, and both regularly run from the high hundreds into the thousands depending on grade and finish. The crystals are the headline, but they're not even the only reason this set is so expensive. Past the crystals, Skyridge has its own special subset of 32 holographic cards, numbered H1 through H32. They got their own numbering, a mini set inside this set, and the lineup is nuts. We're talking Umbreon, Gengar, Gyarados, Alakazam, the legendary birds Articuno and Moltres. Unfortunately, there is no love for Zapdos. They even have evolutions like Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. I love them all, but the Umbreon and the Gengar in particular are grails in their own right. Strong holos that pull serious money in high grade even though they aren't crystals. When a set's regular holos are this desirable, that's what drives the price of a sealed pack through the roof. Every card in the stack is wanted by somebody. In my opinion, the artwork is the best Wizard of the Coast ever produced for their Pokemon e-reader series. After 3 sets of refining the e-card style, Skyridge was at their peak, right as they got shown the door. So now you've got it. Gorgeous art, a loaded holo subset, 6 double printed crystals, and a Charizard that rivals the king. Every single one of those cards is fighting for a space in 36 little packs, which brings us to the part that actually makes grown collectors panic. Here's where Skyridge stops being a normal set and becomes a treasure hunt. A sealed booster box is 36 packs, 9 cards a pack, standard stuff, except there are barely any sealed boxes left in the world, and they almost never come up for sale. Years back, a sealed box was selling in the several $1,000 range. Today, the price is almost beside the point. As collectors put it, the question has shifted from how much does a box cost to can I even find one? People who own sealed Skyridge boxes treat them like investment vehicles and just don't sell them. Even a single sealed pack became a collectible in its own right, with packs trading for hundreds of dollars a piece. And think about why. Every sealed pack is a lottery ticket where the prizes are a Crystal Charizard, an Umbreon, or a Gengar. Cards that can be worth more than the entire box. So nobody wants to crack them, which means the sealed product gets rarer every single year, as the few remaining boxes get locked away or occasionally opened on camera by someone braver than me. So that's Skyridge. 1 print run, a failed scanning gadget baked into the borders, 6 crystals, the best art Wizard of the Coast ever made for e-reader series, and sealed products that's vanishing in real time. But I still owe you that one card I promised at the very start, the one that disappeared for 20 years. Remember the opening loop? There's a card in Skyridge that quietly became the last of its kind for 2 decades. That card is Kadabra. Skyridge was the final set to include a Kadabra card, and then Kadabra disappeared from the Pokemon TCG completely. No new cards, no reprints. For over 20 years. All because of a lawsuit from an illusionist who claimed the character was based on him. It didn't return until the 151 set in 2023. So every kid who pulled a Kadabra out of Skyridge pack in 2003 was, without knowing it, holding the last one anyone would see until they're an adult. Which is the whole story of this set in one card, isn't it? Skyridge is full of last things. The last Wizard of the Coast set, the last e-reader card set, the last Kadabra. Printed once at the exact moment the world looked away, which is exactly why it became the rarest set in the game. So here's my question for you. Would you crack a sealed Skyridge box for the chance at a Crystal Charizard, or keep it sealed forever? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know what kind of collector you are. And if that Kadabra story got you, I made an entire video on the Pokemon cards that got banned, censored, and erased from history. And the Kadabra lawsuit isn't one of the wildest ones in it. I'll put it right here. Go watch that next. Thanks for hanging out, and see you in the next one.